So I thought I'd make another tutorial this time. I think in the last one I actually did, the last one I did here at least, was this shooting tutorial. I defined a nice system for defining shots and different weapons and stuff. That's what we have here. But it's not. This should be a lot quicker. I keep thinking they're going to be quick, and then the last one was half an hour or something. But I wanted to show how to make a frames per second counter, an FPS counter, not a put that there. Yeah, not a first-person shooter counter, but an FPS counter. The old stuff is still in here, but you don't need to worry about that. And this is kind of easy. Like, you can probably figure it out. So I'll put a comment in for FPS counter. I haven't really shown comments, but you can add comments, and they're great. Like, it's good to comment your code and show yourself what it's about, because if you're working on a game for a long time, like it could be months later, you won't remember everything. So anything you think might help explain to almost somebody else, just your future self, go for it. So firstly, you want to actually, yes, let's use our generic variables for this. All right, so let's say, yeah, so I've got an object here to store the variables. You've probably seen that in some of the other tutorials. Let's say FPS count, and then over the course of so firstly, what this always does is it runs every program cycle. So all the stuff you see here in the programming is supposed to run every program cycle, and depending on what frame rate you've got, that's what Clickteam Fusion will try to do. So, and if it doesn't manage to do it all in one, however long, then that's what causes slowdown, basically. Oh crikey! Actually, this has been at 60 FPS the whole time, and I didn't know. But there we go. So that's the frame rate, 60. So that's what we should see as well. So we can see if we're actually getting 60. Oh, not in there. Not in there. This one. Yeah. So we then, every frame, we add 1 to the FPS count. And then every second, we can check how many FPSs we've counted. And this every second thing is a bit special as well. It really is, I think, every second. If you want to get precise about these things, just always test it, like see how long it really takes, or just whatever. But I think the every second is using the Windows clock and not so much Clickteam Fusion's own stuff, so it should be very accurate. And so then you just will set our FPS count back to 0, but before that we'll also set this counter to what the FPS count is, and let's change the order of those in there, because yeah, what order this is matters. If you set it to 0 first, setting the counter will set it to it being now 0. So you set it to that, and that's pretty much it. Like, there ain't much to it, but yeah, it'll start at 0. Oh, have I? What is this? What? Is it not setting to 0? Oh, whoops. Sorry, I set to set FPS count to 0. There we go. Okay. Well, there we go. As I was saying, so what we should see is it showing you the FPS count, and there it is. It's about 60. Yeah, so I mean, as you can see, it's not very dramatic in a kind of low-intensity, just tech demo like this. But when you've got a game like Super Space Galaxy, where I've got all sorts of things going on, I've got maps generating underneath you and things, I have an FPS counter in my own game that I have used some of the time. Not all. I don't use it all the time, but it's good to see if there's slowdown, and I do keep an eye on it sometimes to just see how's the game performing, because some of the time slowdown isn't that obvious, particularly subtle slowdown. Like, I think if it's a process you're not used to seeing, like, there's no natural reason these projectiles are traveling out of my ship at the speed they are. So if they traveled at, say, 80% of the speed, would you notice necessarily? Probably not. But the counter up here, you can see that you know, if it's at 50 frames per second instead of 60, you can see that clear as day. So if you do have a game where you've got a lot of action in it, you want things to be running smoothly, giving yourself an FPS counter is a handy thing to have.